an elder in their family known as Linton Ivy, otherwise known as Bill or termites. Somebody called themselves termites, who will be church at the Seventh day Adventist Church on May 3rd, 2015. Give thanks. Yes, I just want to give a shout out to a sister who just called me from Newark, New Jersey, and she says, "Sister P, you're always bigging up all these different places, but you never big up Newark yet." So anyway, so I had to explain to her that most of the time when you see me call out different places, it's because people texting to me. And then she understood. So it was no hard feelings. And so this is a shout out to Faye. And I give thanks that she makes it this program. I also want to acknowledge the fact that you probably heard a new jingle where it says that the people them hungry and them starving for, whatever information. And that is from Chris Mackenzie from Survivalist in New York. And I really was, so Mr. Sterling, when Mr. Sterling heard that, Mr. Sterling, one of these very composed people, very proper, Mr. Sterling, say, yes, that's the want. So anyway, I just thought I would share that with you. All right, so let's move on. This segment of the program, we're going to take a look at the civil rights movement in America, because a lot of people, see, basically, I went to America as a very young woman. In fact, as a teenager, and I finished school over there. So you would say that my developing years were done or my adult developing years was in America. When I saw what's happening on the television now, I had to really say to myself, there are so many people, including Jamaicans, who are living in the United States right now, and I know that they're sitting there and they're looking at this thing and they're saying, why? Blah, 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 whatever. Because at the time, Jamaicans didn't even see themselves as being black when I was in the United States in the 60s. They didn't have anything to do with them. It was about the other people. And I want to talk about that, because I don't know if things have changed now. But I will say that it is them that was a part of making me who I am today. Yes, that them. Because I couldn't understand why at the time, and this included members of my own family, who wanted to know why I was with them. Because Jamaican people, we are not black. We're Jamaican. And this went on for a long time, and I'm sure that it is still going on. Because we have a class mentality. And this class mentality goes across whether it is Rastafari, make we talk, whether it is church, whether it is state, whether it's downtown, uptown, with the whole light skin business and then now, even within Rastafari, people talking about nigger. And yesterday we talk about Africa. And then we talk about the Indian, the Chinese, and the nigger. Yes, we do things like that. We should shame on ourselves. And then you don't want them to believe in Africa. And you can't even call the people next to you African. You call them nigger. Still, we're still doing that in 2015. The 21st century, we are still doing that. So, you know, I want people to understand that this has been a long trod. And yeah, I must say that I agree with these people to mash up all of these things because you're mashing up your own people. Just like how we here are killing off our own people. But as I listen to a man say, with an inferior education, and then you come out, you're not qualified to do anything, turn to a life of crime, end up in prison, come out of prison, you have a record, so you cannot get a job. So you get angry and you're frustrated and you mash up everything. So, first of all, I'm going to run a tape by Malcolm X. Very short. Very short. And just to say something also, a lot of credit has been given to Martin Luther King. But some of it I think is overdone. Because there were so many other people that were in the civil rights movement and he could not have done it by himself. There were so many. There was all kinds of different things. There was SNCC with one of our own Caribbean people, Stokely Carmichael. And that was very militant. Then there were the Black Panthers. And a lot of this so-called peaceful business made no changes. It was a lot of these people who did mash down the something and them sick of the something mashing down that made the changes because moderates don't make change. Radicals do. Just put that in on a pipe and smoke it. All right? Because if you go on like everything is all right and you're just moderate, you think nobody going to pay you no mind? No. No, they don't. So, Cassidy, run that Malcolm X tape there for me, please.
Negroes today with no badge or no white skin or no white sheet or no white anything else. The police the same way. They put their club upside your head and then turn around and accuse you of attacking them. Every case of police brutality against a Negro follows the same pattern. They attack you, bust you all upside your mouth, and then take you to court and charge you with assault. What kind of democracy is that? What kind of freedom is that? What kind of social or political system is it when a black man has no voice in court, has nothing on his side other than what the white man chooses to give him? My brothers and sisters, we have to put a stop to this. And it will never be stopped until we stop it ourselves. They attack the victim. And then the criminals who attacked the victim accuses the victim of attacking him. Yes, sir. This is American justice.
Yes, sir. That's right.
This is American democracy.
Yes.
And those of you who are familiar with it know that in America, democracy is hypocrisy.
Right.
Now, if I'm wrong, put me in jail.
Right.
But if you can't prove that a democracy is not hypocrisy, then don't put your hands on me.
No. This was in the 1960s. But nothing has changed. And those exact things that Malcolm X was talking about is what exists even in Jamaica here. Where somebody is attacked by the police, when them go to defend themselves, here says them did attack the police. It's the same thing. Yes, sir, do me a favor now. Run the tape there again for me now, please. It's short.
Don't scare Negroes today with no badge or no white skin or no white sheet or no white anything else. The police the same way. They put their club upside your head and then turn around and accuse you of attacking them. Every case of police brutality against a Negro follows the same pattern. They attack you, bust you all upside your mouth, and then take you to court and charge you with assault. What kind of democracy is that? What kind of freedom is that? What kind of social or political system is it when a black man has no voice in court? Has nothing on his side other than what the white man chooses to give him. My brothers and sisters, we have to put a stop to this. And it will never be stopped until we stop it ourselves. They attack the victim. And then the criminals who attacked the victim accuses the victim of attacking him.
Yes, sir.
This is American justice.
Yes, sir. That's right.
This is American democracy.
Yes,
and those of you who are familiar with it know that in America, democracy is hypocrisy.
Right.
Now, if I'm wrong, put me in jail.
Right.
But if you can't prove that a democracy is not hypocrisy, then don't put your hands on me.
Yes, we are laugh about Cassidy. Democracy is hypocrisy. You want to know that democracy is hypocrisy? Look at this now. Indonesia decided that I'm going to execute 9 people by firing squad because them don't want no hard drugs in them country. And the people them from Australia bring in how much kilos of cocaine into them country. And them know so it's a death sentence in that country. And then now the Prime Minister of Australia going to recall his ambassador because 2 of his citizens get executed. But that's the law in Indonesia. And if you know that that is the law in Indonesia, why you are going to try to take heroin into the people in country? Them don't want the heroin and them don't want you. Some of you know why Australia going to take such thing to it. No. Anyway, we just want to go back a little bit here. Get little history. Did you know that Martin Luther King, you know, Malcolm X had planned to formally take the United States government to the United Nations on charges of human rights violations against African Americans. And Martin Luther King was about to join him in that endeavor. Yes, that's the things that Malcolm X was working on. He wanted to take the United States government to the United Nations on charges of human rights violations against African Americans. It's one of the history lessons. Okay, one of the first major race riots that took place in America took place in Harlem. And this was in the summer of 1964. And why? A white Irish American police officer shot 15-year-old James Powell, who was black, for allegedly charging him armed with a knife. But guess what? It was found that Powell was unarmed. So a group of black citizens demanded that that policeman be suspended. And hundreds of young demonstrators marched peacefully to the police station. And this was in 1964, the day after 15-year-old James Powell was shot dead by a white Irish American police officer. Okay, and that was in 1964. Let's take a look at 1965. The American Football League. There was a match that was scheduled to be played in New Orleans. But after many of the black players were refused service by a number of the New Orleans hotels and businesses, and white taxi drivers refused to carry black passengers. So you know what happened? Both black and white players lobbied for a boycott of New Orleans, So, under the leadership of the Buffalo Bills players, the players put up a united front and the game was moved to Jefferson Stadium in Houston. That was 1965, January 1965. In 1965 also, President Lyndon Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act. But the new law had no immediate effect on living conditions for blacks. So a few days after the act became law, a riot broke out in the south central Los Angeles neighborhood of Watts. And of course, it was a largely white police department that had a history of abuse against blacks that was in that particular area. So, while arresting a young man for drunk driving, police officers argued with the suspect's mother before onlookers. The conflict triggered a massive destruction of property through 6 days of rioting. 34 people were killed and property valued at about $30 million was destroyed, making the Watts riots among the most expensive in American history. And with black militancy on the rise, ghetto residents directed acts of anger at the police. Black residents, growing tired of police brutality, continued to riot. Some young people joined groups such as the Black Panthers, whose popularity was based in part on their reputation for confronting police officers. And so riots among blacks occurred in 1966 and in 1967 in cities such as New York, specifically, in cities such as Atlanta, San Francisco, same Baltimore, Seattle, Tacoma, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Columbus, Newark, Chicago, and New York City, specifically in Brooklyn, Harlem, and the Bronx. But the worst of all was in Detroit. And this is what happened. White police officers shut down an illegal bar and arrested a large group of patrons during the hot summer of 1967. Furious residents rioted. They looted and destroyed property for 5 days, and the National Guardsmen and federal troops patrolled in tanks through the streets. Residents reported that police officers shot at black people before even determining if the suspects were armed or dangerous. After 5 days, 41 people had been killed, hundreds injured, and thousands left homeless. In April 1968, after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King in Memphis, Tennessee, rioting broke out in cities across the country from frustration and despair. And these included Cleveland, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Chicago, New York City, and Louisville, Kentucky. So, as we can see, the more things change, it's the more they remain the same. The more things change, it's the more that they remain the same. This has been happening in America. It has continued to happen. And I'm sure if I went earlier, but because I went through the 60s myself, I wanted to at least be able to relate what's happening now. Because I know that they had marches all across the United States yesterday. A couple months ago, it was Ferguson. It was Brooklyn. It's the same thing. Nothing has changed. And but one thing is that every time you have these things, there is some law that comes up now to make it not happen again, or to give black people more rights or something, or whatever, better education, whatever. Until the next time. So we're gonna play Martin Luther King's last speech. Put that for me, please, Cassidy.
All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper. If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
Yes, yesterday I was asking to put back We Shall Overcome because it's such an important. This was basically the chant at the time. And as Karen says, this world changes but remains the same. This world, when it's not class, it's race. Watching showing how the rich slowly taking over Portland as their playground, but choose not to provide opportunities for Portlanders. You're seeing the thing though, Karen? You seen the thing? Alright. I'm glad that is somebody outside witnessing that. Somebody was asking who was talking on the tape. The first tape was Malcolm X, and the name of the tape is very short. Democracy is Hypocrisy. Democracy is Hypocrisy. It's very short. It's just 1 minute and 39 seconds. Ever, I know you like those things. And to heal up my brethren, ever. And the second speech was MLK's last speech. That's how it's listed on YouTube. MLK's last speech. and that was 3:27. It's the We Shall Overcome from the Toots in the that first segment, this 9:30 segment there, Cassidy. And if listeners, I want to be very frank, and I don't care who vex, who don't vex. This program, to do big up, you have to tell me what it is that I'm bigging up the person for. Tell me, do. What it is that time. If you ask me to do a shout out, I don't have a problem with that. Because sometimes you just want to make people know so you still remember them. But if you're going to give me big up, I say it over again, people vex over it. But guess what? This is me. You have DJs, I think it's about 9 DJs, and they love to do that. They do a whole big something. I'm not going to sit down night after night and try and research information and then come here, and the only thing I can do with my time is big ups. I'm sorry. Who want Bex?
You're tuned in to Spiritual Vibration with Sister P.
This is the inspirational moment on StylzFM.
I will consciously receive the light of the Creator constantly passing through me. I repeat, I will consciously receive the light of the Creator constantly passing through me. I'd like to say good morning to Elder Campbell and also to Valerie, 2 people who love the midday meditation.
That was the inspirational moment on StylzFM.
Notice hereby given that the annual general meeting of the Portland Cooperative Credit Union will be held at the Old Marina, West Palm Avenue, Port Antonio on Thursday, May 7th, beginning at 2:30 p.m. Registration 1 p.m. Dinner will be served from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Transportation will be provided to and from the Buffalo Valley. Make every effort to attend. Lots of prizes and surprises.
Hey, this is me, Brother Gary. I tell you, say, if you want to advertise anything you have, if you sell anything, truck, car, bus, anything you're keeping, make sure you advertise it past StylzFM. Call this number 439-5160. 439-5160. And I guarantee you, everybody I go in your business.
I'm on black, me da brown, me da white. See Babylon stripe, your
Metamorphosis, entertainment. Coming to you from StylzFM, from the parish of Portland, Northeast Jamaica. Featuring your host, Dr. Iman Black. Tune in every Friday, 9 p.m. to 12 midnight. Come, listen, learn, engage Dr. Iman Black. Article reasoning, article teaching. Come, be edutained. Metamorphosis.
Take us to work. Take us on the go. Take us wherever you go. StylzFM.
Take StylzFM with you on the go. The number for USA 213-992-4360. That's 213-992-4360. And for the United Kingdom, 033-0010-3322. That's 033-0010-3322.
StylzFM.
This is Survivalist represented for Sister P with the spiritual vibration, feeding the nation with righteous education. Feed them, Sister P, feed them, cause them are starved.
Yes, as we go into this segment with a featured artist. Let me see this. Let me take a call here. Yeah, greetings, listener. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Sister B.
Yes.
Oh, I'm calling from Martin Luther King Memorial Center. I hear you play a little thing there with Martin Luther. It sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's so nice to remember it. You know, we have written to the Jamaican government for the Jamaican flag to fly at half-mast each Martin Luther King Day and for our school to dismiss earlier.
Why?
In honor of Martin Luther King.
Why is that?
We are trying to transfer his legacy into the younger generation so as to keep his memory alive. You know, he did so much for the black people especially. And think about the thousands of Jamaicans living and working in the United States enjoying what Martin Luther King sacrificed his life for.
Well, to be quite truthful with you, I am not sure that I agree with that. Because there were so many other people. I have a little problem with that, to be quite truthful with you. Because having been there and knowing a lot of the people at the time who helped to make the change, I can't really say that I 100% agree with that. Because it was those radical people out there that when America got sick and tired of people like the Panthers, when they got sick and tired of Malcolm X, as I keep saying on this program, moderates don't really make that much change. Radicals make change. You know, so I can understand what you are saying, but I'm not sure that I'm 100% agree that. Maybe I'm a little bit too radical for that. One was about integration, and the other was about equality. So,
like with Martin, you know, Sister P, he was depending on God to help him, you know, and
depending on what?
To use violence.
Hold it. Depending on what?
He used to use violence. You know, you know, that's what I like about him.
What you say he was depending on?
He was depending on God, the strength of God to do it with him through God. And he refused to use violence.
Okay, sometimes in life we have to just agree to disagree. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Why, as one of my listeners is saying now here now, one of my listeners is saying, why not fly the flag half-mast for Marcus Garvey in Jamaica, which makes more sense to me more than Martin Luther King. Come on now, let's get real. Why not fight for the Jamaica government to fly the flag at half-mast for Marcus Garvey rather than Martin Luther King?
Well, we have Heroes Day where we celebrate the Heroes Day in Jamaica.
No, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. That is not good enough. When people like Martin Luther King probably was influenced by Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X was influenced by, I never heard those African leaders, Kenyatta, and Nkrumah, all of them being influenced by Elijah Muhammad being influenced. Heroes Day for Marcus Garvey with 6 other heroes is not good enough to what Marcus Garvey has done for the world. Marcus Garvey had in Santiago, Cuba alone, had 50 UNIA divisions. There were UNIA divisions in Australia, all over. I have never heard of divisions of Martin Luther King anywhere. Tell me where they are.
But Sister P, maybe Marcus Garvey didn't go what Martin Luther King go through, you know.
No, man.
Go through some terrible things, you know.
No. I was there. No. Don't tell me that.
No. Party telephone threat for the day.
No. You have to go learn the history on Marcus Garvey. No way.
The mighty Ku Klux Klan.
No, so what you think?
Remember the Ku Klux Klan?
You don't know the history. Marcus Garvey went through worse than what Martin Luther King went through. Worse. He had the same Ku Klux Klan. He had the CIA, FBI, everybody on his case. He had all of that and more. Okay? And what did he do? He started the Black Star Liner. And what did they do to him? Because the only way of sending things to him was through the mail. And then they lock him up for mail fraud. No, man. You have to go check the history. Martin Luther King did nothing in comparison with what Marcus Garvey did.
Both of them is alike.
No, they're not even alike. That is the problem. They're not even alike. What Marcus Garvey did and what Marcus Garvey is still doing. You check, okay, right in Jamaica right now. Right now, if people's talking about black power, rising up or whatever, do they call Martin Luther King's name or do they call Marcus Garvey's name?
They call Marcus Garvey.
Because Marcus Garvey had more of an influence on the world than Martin Luther King. There's no question about that. And Ray, I want to thank you. Please, thank you for so, because sometimes I just me alone can't do the thing. Let me check and see if I say nothing.
Maybe I don't know the much history about Marcus Garvey.
You need to do that. You really need to do that.
But if Garvey's speeches and protest marches are recorded like Martin Luther King, maybe, people would know more. But
a lot of them are. It's just what people choose to go to. A lot of them are. How much? This is the big problem. Why we keep saying that people keep saying that Marcus Garvey needs to be taught in schools? Because Martin Luther King was in a time when there was radio, there was TV and all of that. Those things were not there in Marcus Garvey. You go straight to Africa, all of those. And from you go Kwame Nkrumah, Lumumba, Kenyatta, I can't remember some of them, Nyerere. All of them were influenced by Marcus Garvey to start independence movements in their countries. I never hear one of them says Martin Luther King motivate them. None of them. So what has happened to us is that we now want to take, whether it's an African American or what, and put over our beloved Marcus Garvey. Trust me, me will be one of them go out, they go fight. Trust me. Because that will never happen as long as some of us here in Jamaica. We're not going to allow that. No flag for a fly, no half-mast when Marcus Garvey host dropping down in St. Anne's Bay. Never going to happen. All right? Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, that's your view. All right.
But that's a view of just go there and ask now. Because you know what the people are going to say that. How many Jamaican people you hear talking about when we're talking about anything for rise up? Now Marcus Garvey that. I bet you I can start get a whole heap of text, and I hope I can text me in if you don't feel anybody out there that feel the same way like that gentleman. Or if you feel like how me feel, text and let me know, because people need to be straightened out with this. You would really stay in Jamaica and know, so you can't get a flag for a half-mast. You can't even get nothing about Marcus Garvey and Martin Luther King. Something was going on there, so.
Well, there's nothing down here from, what I'm saying that there's nothing down here going on down here for Martin Luther King. Mandela,
so what is going on for Marcus Garvey? So what is going on for Marcus Garvey?
You know.
So what is going on for Marcus Garvey? So what is going on for Marcus Garvey?
Well, we have Heroes Day mainly, and we have other
I keep repeating, Heroes Day is just some people dress up in some costume and dance around the place and do some coming and some mentor and some something. That's what Heroes Day is. The man house, Marcus Garvey house, dropping down. Do you know that Marcus Garvey is still a criminal on the books in Jamaica? Let me tell you. Sir, go do your research. Give thanks, me have to move on.
All right, nice.
M16, AK-47, pump rifle, Desert Eagle, all homemade one pop to. See them goalie. Them a walk with gunina and a run the town. All in front of station, man a shot man down. Them a walk with gunina and a run the town. All in front of station, man a shot man down. Cause these guys